Alright, so for a while now I've wanted to build a classic car. I've had a few Japanese cars. I haven't ever had an American car. And I found a good deal that I couldn't pass up, and it just happened to be a car that my wife happens to really like, which is a plus. So give me a second, I'll let you guys check this thing. So this is it. It's a little bit of a basket case as far as the cosmetic side of things, but I'll show you guys where we're at mechanically. So we've got a 289, and I actually got this thing to fire up with new plugs and wires, and a little bit of brake clean shot through the carburetor, and it fired off. So after that, I cleaned out the filter, the fuel filter, ran some new lines to our custom gas tank, and actually got this thing to idle for about 5 or 10 seconds, which I have a video of that, and I can cut that into the video here. Yeah, shut it off. Carb definitely needs to be rebuilt. After that, we pretty much went right into rebuilding the Edelbrock. It's got a 4-barrel 1405 Edelbrock carburetor. And after I pulled that off, I realized the intake manifold was rusty. So for the current project, we've got some CLR. And right now, it is doing a crazy good job at cleaning up this manifold. Alright, so here's where we're at. I've got the manifold pretty much as cleaned up as I need it to be. There still is some slight surface rust inside, but it's a lot better than it was. And I'm not worried about particles flaking off and ending up in the engine like I was before. The CLR really did a good job. And then to kind of stop some flash rusting, I've just kind of rubbed it down with a thin layer of some just diesel oil. That'll keep it from flash rusting, and I'm not trying to make this perfect. I just want it to run. So that's where we ended up. Next, we'll be putting this bad boy back in the car, hooking that 4-barrel back up. Alright, so here's where we're at. I've got the intake manifold all cleaned up. So next is cleaning up where the intake manifold gaskets mount to the heads. So I'm gonna get to scrubbing with this, or scraping I should say, for God knows how long. And next time you see me, we'll be dropping the intake manifold back on the car. Alright, so after about 30 minutes, lots of patience, I think we've got the surface pretty clean. Managed to keep everything nice and clean with the rags. So it's getting kind of late. I'm gonna call it a night here. But next time we work on this thing, we're gonna get the manifold gaskets on. We're gonna get the manifold on. We're gonna get the carburetor on. We're gonna fire this thing up. All right, it's time for these manifold gaskets, the intake manifold gaskets, to go on the car. On these old 289s, these end ports actually have coolant that flows through them. So we're gonna put a little bit of gasket maker to help that seal a little better. If you don't do that, you can end up with a coolant leak. Of course, we're using the trusty Camry as our workbench. So I'm gonna get some gasket maker on these, get them set up on the engine. They have a nice little tab they rest on this engine that holds them in place, and we'll go from there. All right, So in this Felpro kit, they actually supply a cork gasket that runs along that gap there on the back of the engine, and also here towards the bottom of the distributor on the front of the engine. But we're gonna use gasket maker. Not a huge fan of that, the old style cork gaskets. We've also got a little gasket maker on each of coolant passages. So now the fun part, to try and drop the manifold pretty much as straight down as possible to get a good seal with that gasket maker. So wish me luck. It'd probably be a lot easier without the distributor in the way, but I did not want to pull it out, so here we go. All right, we successfully got the manifold back in. I did not lose any fingers, and I think I got it on there straight enough to get a good contact. You can't really see on camera. I don't know if it'll focus, but you can see the squeeze out of the gasket maker. So I think we're good. Now there is a specific torque order on these, but roughly it's pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, something in that order. Somewhere close to that and you'll probably be fine. So we're gonna torque it up and drop the carb on. We got the old wrist torque wrench out. Got these guys somewhere around 20 foot-pounds. Now it's time to remember where all the stuff for the carb goes. Wish me luck. All right, we're back over on the trusty Camry workbench. So far, working on these old cars has gone something like this. Find something that's broken, take it off to fix it, realize everything's disgusting, start cleaning things, think you're ready to go back together, and remember you have more stuff to clean. So, got the old scraper out, back to work. All right, we have a new development. So, in the process of cleaning all this, I threw the initial gasket for this spacer away. And of course, the rebuild kit only comes with one gasket for the carburetor. So now I have to attempt to find a part store that has another one of these. We'll see. Time to make a trip to the Big O. See if those guys have one of these bad boys. Hopefully, we'll get lucky. I'm sure they've got it on the Powerwall, but we'll just have to see. Gotta see what the wifey's up to. Say, hey, wanna go to O'Reilly's? Hey, baby, you wanna go to O'Reilly's? She said, hell no. Hell no, I wanna work on my garden. I'm gonna go to O'Reilly's, you wanna come? Yeah? Let's go. Take her to Dutch Bros, cause you know, gotta do what you gotta do. Alrighty, I got the closest match at O'Reilly's, which wound up being this Cometic gasket. This part number, if you guys are working on these, an engine that has one of these 4-barrel Edelbrocks. Wound up matching up pretty good. So finally slap the carburetor on. I think we'll be good there. Walk around. Boom. Finally. Look at that. We finally have a carburetor back on the engine. For you guys, it's only a few minutes probably, but for me, it's been a whole work week. I do have a job and everything else, so we're finally here. Let's get the fuel pump hooked back up, or the fuel lines hooked back up, see if we can get this thing to kick off. All right, the carb is hooked up. Got everything actuating as it should. Got our vacuum lines ran, plugs where we need them. This little breather line that goes around to the plate back here. And then I'm gonna totally pretend like it didn't take me 15 minutes to get the vacuum line that goes down to the transmission installed. That definitely did not happen. So now I just got to rig up our amazing fuel system, and we'll finally be ready to see if this thing will idle for real on its own. We're gonna find out. All right, time to prime the fuel pump back up. All right, go ahead and turn the engine over. Stop. All right, we have fuel, so that's a plus. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed. Give me a second. All right, we got that fuel line hooked back up. Let's see what happens. All right, go for it. Yeah, go for it. Holy crap. All right, we are idling. Okay. Well, sounds like we might have a lifter stuff. Idling, kind of. All right, well, I think we can say the carb has been successfully rebuilt. Just have a little tap going on. Hopefully we just have a lifter that's kind of fussing a little bit. Go ahead, let's see how quick it kicks over this time. All right, try it now. All right. Definitely got a lifter with that stuff. Alrighty. is our key at the moment, I guess. All right, well, we've got it running. Sounds like it runs pretty decent. Definitely probably change the oil. It does have oil in it, but God knows how long it's been in it. So two things we really need to do. The brake system is trashed. That'll be on the agenda. And I'm sure if you guys have been paying attention, you've noticed the cooling system is, well, a little not happy. Hard to see, but bone dry, completely full of rust. But as far as I'm concerned, we've got a running engine, which means she's got life, and life is good. My lovely assistant over here turning the key. All right, so we got it started. Pretty cool. No telling how long this thing sat without running. I don't have a license plate, so I'm not exactly, or I do actually. It was last registered in 08. So, somewhat of an idea of how long this bad boy's been off the road. Almost 20 years. We got it started with some spark plugs, plug wires. We rebuilt the Edelbrock, cleaned up the manifold. Yeah, a lot of work. This is not even the tip of the iceberg. So next we'll probably do an oil change, try and see if we can't get that tap figured out. Probably, hopefully, just a lifter. And we'll go from there. Brakes, coolant, those are definitely on the chopping block. And supposedly the reason this thing was parked is the rear end is bad, so that's definitely up there as well. See you guys next time. Peace.